A while back on TikTok, I saw this freaky SCP that was basically a living room made of flesh, and Dr. Bob's done an animation on it that we're gonna get into today. Make sure to head on over to Dr. Bob's channel and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, guys, and if you like reaction videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel as well. Let's get into this animation.
A pair of SCP Foundation researchers open the door of a containment cell and find themselves staring at something unlike anything they've ever seen before.
All right.
Sitting in the middle of the room is a giant lump that appears to be made of what can only be described as flesh.
It's kind of hairy too. Ugh.
The two look at each other in disbelief. Just what is this thing?
Gross.
They circle the huge blob, looking it over, wondering what on earth it could be.
Right.
One of the researchers finally gets the courage to actually feel it. He finds that it's warm to the touch.
Okay, it's warm.
And does he
like
detect
flesh.
some slight movement? He slowly moves to place his
It's
ear
alive.
against it to listen. But a sudden shudder from the mask sends him jumping back and
Ah!
Just then, the other researcher calls to him from the other side of the sphere. It
There's a
sounds
door.
like he has found something.
Mm-hmm.
As he approaches, he too sees what caused his partner to call out. There, in the middle of this tumorous ball,
that looks like a vault.
is a door.
That
It's a
is
circular
nasty.
iron hatch, the kind sealed by a valve. And it's open.
Oh.
Now the researchers are really confused. A massive lump of living flesh is strange enough.
You already
but
touched
why
it.
does
You
it
might
have
as well
a
go
door?
in.
One of the researchers peeks inside. Is that a couch they see? And a table?
Made of flesh.
Does someone live in this thing?
Ugh.
Things are getting beyond strange.
Mm-hmm.
The two researchers look up at the observation window where their supervisor is watching them. The supervisor does not hesitate. He nods at them.
Go on
and
in.
The researchers know what they must do.
Right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. The researcher who lost winces. He knew that coming to work at the SCP Foundation meant that he would be dealing with some strange,
Dude,
dangerous,
send a D
and
class in,
disgusting
man.
anomalies. But he never imagined he would have to climb inside a giant orb of meat.
Ugh.
His partner opens the hatch all the way and offers a hand to help him. Knowing he has no other option, the researcher steps inside.
Come on, I'll help you in.
Inside, the air is hot, thick, and moist, like a cramped gym that's had too many bodies exerting themselves on a warm, humid day.
Like a mouth
He
or an
walks through the
armpit.
short entranceway, and his eyes adjust to the dim light to find that he's standing in the middle of a cozy little room. A single, small lamp on a table is giving off just enough light for him to see that the room is sparsely furnished, with a few pieces including a small couch
Call it
and a twin
cozy.
bed. Outside, his
A
partner calls to
flesh
him,
bed?
asking what he can see. As the researcher turns to answer, the door snaps shut.
Uh-oh. Is it
The
gonna
valve
eat him?
spins on its own, locking itself tight.
God.
Try as he might, the researcher can't get it to budge. He bangs on the door and yells. Is he all right in there? Is everything okay? His only response is a muffled scream from
Oh,
inside
no.
the ball of flesh. He
He's
keeps
getting
pulling at the door,
told
twisting
you
the
to sit in
valve
the
with
D
all of his
class.
strength, but it won't move.
That's what they're there for.
The sounds of gurgles and wet sloshing come from inside the meaty
It's
growth.
digesting
An
him.
alarm starts to sound as he strains against the door, exerting himself so hard that he feels like a vein in his head might burst.
It ain't helping.
Suddenly, the valve loosens, and the sudden lack of resistance causes him to fall to
There
the
you
floor.
go. It's hungry
The
again.
valve spins on its own, and the door swings open once again.
Come on in and
The
check
ball
on your
of
boy.
flesh
We're gonna eat
is
you
quiet
too.
once more.
Wow.
The researcher picks himself up off the ground and slowly, carefully, peeks
so
inside.
nasty, dude.
Hello? Are you okay?
Hell no.
Is anyone in there? There's no response.
New piece of
That
furniture?
is, until a blast of hot air comes rushing out of the hatch,
Ugh.
blowing the researcher's hair back.
A
When
belch.
it's over, he peeks inside
Or a
again.
fart.
His fellow researcher is nowhere to be seen.
Gone.
Inside is the same couch, bed, and table with a small lamp.
Uh-huh.
But there's something new there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Across from the couch, where there was nothing before,
Ah.
is a small television. While this may
making
seem
it more
strange,
inviting.
it's just another day at the SCP Foundation, where anomalous objects and creatures are studied and contained,
Yep.
including SCP-002,
002.
also known as the Living Room. SCP-002 is the designation given to a large, tumorous, fleshy growth.
Tumorous.
It's roughly spherical, with a circumference just over 15 meters,
15
giving it an
meters.
estimated volume of around 60 meters cubed.
Wow.
Located on one
big.
side is an iron valve hatch, similar to what might be found on an old submarine, which leads into the interior of the ball. Those who step inside are surprised to discover a small room that resembles a low-rent studio apartment, complete with furniture and even a small window.
I'd say.
Strangely,
It's made of flesh.
the outside of the ball of flesh shows
That'll
no
reduce your
windows,
mortgage, man.
and indeed no openings at all, save for the iron hatch.
Right.
The furniture in the room displays no anomalous properties, though examination has revealed that the furniture
made of
appears to be
flesh.
constructed of sculpted bone, woven hair, and other biological substances, all
toenails
coming from human
stuff.
bodies. Analysis of samples taken from the furniture has shown each to be constructed from independent and fragmented DNA sequences, several of which correspond to SCP research personnel who have been lost inside of SCP-002.
All the time making it more and more inviting.
To date, the living room has
That
been
has a
responsible for 7 members of staff going missing.
Wow.
At the same time, during the course of its containment at the SCP Foundation, the room appears to have added multiple additional furnishings, including 2 lamps, a throw rug, a television, a radio, a beanbag chair, 3 books in an unknown language, 4 children's toys, and a small potted plant.
Wow.
Tests have been performed using a variety of non-human entities in order to see if they would provoke a similar response from SCP-002 to that of humans. Various lab animals, including those with close DNA to humans, such as chimpanzees, have been placed in the room. But so far, all have failed to make the living room react.
They just
Human
want
cadavers
humans.
were also tested, but they too did not produce any effect.
So only
It is
living.
unknown what causes
living
SCP-002 to engage in its behavior, but whatever process it uses to convert organic matter into furnishings seems to only be triggered by the presence of living human beings.
Right.
SCP-002 was discovered in northern Portugal, following reports of an object falling from Earth's orbit.
Of course it's an alien.
There in the bottom of a small crater was SCP-002. It was encased in a thick shell of rock, but the anomaly's fleshy exterior could be seen through cracks that were likely created by the
So
impact.
it was originally a meteor.
A
with
local
flesh
farmer was the
inside.
first to spot the object falling to Earth and brought word of what he found to his village.
Found a big
At the
ball
same
of flesh
time,
out back,
a Level
y'all.
4
Come see.
SCP Foundation agent stationed in the area detected elevated levels of radioactivity and traced the source back to the crater.
Yes.
An SCP collection squad led by General Mulhausen was dispatched to the impact site and quickly secured the area. Test subjects from the nearby village were recruited for initial analysis of the object, with 3 men being individually sent inside of SCP-002,
We'll pay you well.
all of whom disappeared.
Of course. Turn it
Having
into
confirmed
furniture.
this anomaly's deadly properties, General Mulhausen then issued a Level 4A termination order that would apply to any local witnesses in order to ensure that no knowledge of the object reached the outside world.
To heck with them
He then
nestics.
oversaw its transport to an
It just
SCP
killed him.
containment facility.
Wow.
As Foundation staff prepped SCP-002 for relocation, 4 members of the security personnel were seemingly mesmerized and drawn inside the object where they too disappeared.
It
This
hypnotizes
was the
people
first
too?
hint that SCP-002 possesses some form of subtle mind control, with the ability to influence humans into stepping inside of it.
Holy crap.
It was after these losses that it was first noticed that the object appeared to grow new furnishings,
Curiosity
following
is
someone
not enough.
disappearing inside.
It can beckon you.
After these mishaps, General Mulhausen ordered all staff to wear hazmat suits when dealing with SCP-002.
Yeah.
And following the General's own termination, SCP-002 was placed in containment at the secure facility where it currently
So the
resides.
general got terminated.
Due to the ongoing danger presented by SCP-002, the risk it poses to any who step inside of it, and the mind control abilities it possesses, it has been classified as Euclid.
Yeah.
It is to remain connected at
Hard to
all times
contain.
to a suitable power supply to keep it in a charging mode of some kind, which appears to make it more docile. In the event of a power outage, staff in the immediate area are to be evacuated and the object's containment cell emergency barrier is to be closed, sealing it off from the rest of the site.
Our special containment.
Once power is
procedures.
reestablished, strobing X-ray and ultraviolet lights are to be activated in the containment cell until SCP-002 is returned to its charging mode.
All right.
Research teams investigating SCP-002 that will come within 20 meters of the object must consist of no fewer than 2 members.
Right.
Personnel should also maintain physical contact with one another at all times to confirm that the other is present and not experiencing any feelings of confusion, dulled perception, or other forms of bewilderment that may lead
Interesting.
to them entering the living room.
Just a buddy system.
No personnel at all below a Level 3 clearance are allowed inside of SCP-002.
Right.
And any staff that have contact with the anomaly are to be escorted no less than 5 kilometers away and must undergo a 72-hour quarantine and psychological evaluation.
All right.
SCP-002 is one of the oldest anomalies in the SCP Foundation database,
002?
but remains one of the least understood. Perhaps one day we'll understand what it is, and why it was at one time sitting in the orbit of Earth. Did someone send it here, intending us to one day find it? Did it come here of its own volition? Or did we put it there ourselves,
Is it
in an
intelligent?
attempt to keep it away? Thanks for watching this anomalous entity from the SCP Foundation's classified archives. And make sure you subscribe to Dr. Bob and turn on notifications to be the first to learn more about the hidden secrets inside.
Dr. Bob's got a really, really good animation style and very, very educational. I love this video. Lately, guys, I've been noticing a little bit more of stuff that I can react to without specific permission. And I did reach out to a couple creators that I never got in contact with, or I didn't know how to get in contact with. But they're licensed under Creative Commons stuff, so that gives me the right to be able to react to them, as well as attribute my videos to them and use Creative Commons licensing for my own videos. So good stuff. Anyway, that's enough of the boring stuff. Hope y'all had a great Christmas, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to check out Dr. Bob in the description or right here, and a couple other SCP reactions you might like. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off, and we'll see you next time.